Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another couch video. Women say one thing publicly and do something else privately. Yeah, and this video is in response to a comment by one of my more faithful supporters, the Renaissance. Now, this dude's legit. This dude is legit. I met him in person at the second Self-Improvement Summit, and still check that out. I think there might be a few spaces left. And I'm gonna tell you what, this dude know what he talking about. Now, the comment was on a video regarding women going for different body types. And I was thinking about it in a bigger sense. Now, his comment was more related to how women say they want one type of man, but then, you know, they sleeping with somebody else. They regularly sleeping, they getting turned out as somebody else making them holler. But that's just, you know what, that's even bigger than just talking about that. Because one thing I peeped, a lot of guys, particularly on this online space, they'll look at some videos where women will say what they want, and because it confirms their own bias, they think, oh yeah, that's it. Which is funny to me, because the same men will say, oh no, don't listen to women. But when they saying something that confirms their bias publicly, they agree with it. Like a big one, a major one, because you know, I talk about body game and stuff. But you got some guys saying, no, it's not the body game. No, it's just the face, just the face. And you know, they'll see some of these videos where you get these public interview videos, and the women will say, they'll ask the woman, is it the face or the body? And most of the time, women say the face. Most of the time, let's be real. Indeed, there was a video I talked about one time, where it was like, do a woman wants a man's looks or his personality? Or no, his intelligence. Oh, they did some of those personality ones too. Looks or his intelligence. And all the women say, oh no, he has to be intelligent. Look. Now, I'm known for talking about the sexual shadow world. An aspect of it is how women really behave. See, understand something out here. Anything a woman says in a public environment, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. Because the thing is, women, they know they have to put on an image. They know they get judged. If the women say, yeah, I regularly get trains ran on me, what you gonna do? What's most men gonna do? They're gonna judge her. Or she had like more than 2 sexual partners. They're gonna judge her. Or she do this. Like, one of my favorite things with women is, okay, I'll meet a woman and she'll say, oh, I've only been with 5 guys. Then when I get them comfortable, the number always goes up. They never fail. Then he felt, hey, if y'all had some instances where the woman told you one thing and then later on when she got comfortable, or you find out something else, or one of my favorites too is when they say, oh no, I only been with this guy, but then somehow or another, some guy contact her or something. She said, oh yeah, I used to go out with him. It's like, you didn't mention him. Women do that because they know men will judge. Women, they will judge, but what they do behind closed doors is something different. And I give you a story about that. This was something public, because I said I've been doing this way before YouTube was even a thought in someone's mind. Shoot, before broadband was a thought in somebody's mind, right? But I was doing this seminar, and I was specifically talking about Mr. Goodbar. And we were specifically talking about women just going for men for sex. Now, it was interesting. These women, it was a group, male and female group, and this group was known for arguing, especially the women. So, okay, we in this, wait a minute, I gotta do something with my controls, make sure I get everything right. But anyway, I was doing something with these women and everything, and, I gotta make sure I look good, y'all. Anyway, I was doing something with these women, and, I was talking to them and said, yeah, y'all know y'all be going for this guy and this guy. And most of them were quiet. But then there was one who was arguing me to death I mean, if you were to see it, I've talked about this before, but I will remember it. You might even have some people who be on these YouTube streets who was there. At least one I know, I ain't gonna call his name, but he was there. He witnessed it. Now, she was arguing me to death. She was like, no, we don't be doing that. We don't be doing that. Oh, no, we don't mess with a guy just for sex. All right. When we got outside, oh, incidentally, at that same thing, there was another woman there, like a legit dime, had been featured in a men's magazine. She was arguing with me, but she was doing it just, she said the other women being quiet, she was smiling the whole time. So we were just kind of like, yo, okay, let's give them a show here, right? But this other one was arguing with me, right? All right. So she arguing and stuff and saying, no, we would never do that. I mean, almost to the point. You would have thought if it was any place else, we might have went to blows. That's how deep it was. All right, she did all that. Then once the thing was over and we were outside and nobody was around us. No, I think it was a couple of her friends around who really knew she was bullshitting too. She said, damn right she got a young boy just for sex. But she said this. She said the reason why she was challenging that and the reason why all the other women were quiet because there were a lot of good men in there who could have possibly made good boyfriends or husbands, and the women didn't want to play themselves like that. See, y'all gotta understand something. Take anything a woman says publicly with a grain of salt. Even if it's something that you want to hear, take it with a grain of salt. When I talk about that shadow world, it's simply what the women do behind closed doors at the end of the day. Trust me, they do a lot. I mean, I was the other night, I was talking to one of my consultation clients, and I was telling him about this woman who a married woman who looked me in the eye, just straight up in the eye one time and said she would cheat with me because she knew I could be quiet. And incidentally, just as a tangent, brief, like a slight tangent, fellas, get off that receipt thing. I don't care, because a lot of times women want to do something, but they don't want to think their picture's going to be online. All right. Being discreet is very important if you really want to get some. Because I'm going to tell you what, see, you got a lot of women who might be in something like a church. Oh, that's another instance. And shoot, that's a woman who might be watching. You know, I still love you, baby. I'll say she was a former first lady of a church, and the stuff she was telling me, I need to reach out to her and say, hey, you know what, would you be willing to do a public interview? She was telling me some stuff in the church that, there's one thing she told me, I don't even know if that would cause a controversy if I shared that. I'm gonna keep that to myself for now. So any ladies, watch out how you deal with me. But anyway, I'm telling you, they will say, I don't care where you at, especially if they're on camera. Because here's another thing, like some women will do. And some guys have picked up on this. Because a lot of guys have picked up on this, and it's really accurate. You notice I don't really say anything about it, against it. And that's that whole Cock Carousel thing. You get a lot of women, they sow their oats and everything and do all this stuff. And in fact, what I'm about to mention, Eddie Murphy talked about it in his comedy show Raw back in '87. And this is old school. This is old. Any real play, anybody in the streets know this. And y'all know, like regular dudes should know this, because people have talked about that Cock Carousel. You get women, you might meet a woman, she act all innocent and everything, but you go back to her old hometown, everybody knew her. Indeed, I could drop some celebrity names. Because they know. So it's like, they know if they want that husband or that good boyfriend, they can't be saying anything. And even when they doing those public interview videos, they don't know who's watching. They don't know, so they used to it. So it's like, whenever I'm talking with women, I take what they say publicly with a grain of salt. And they say it, and I just say, okay. They could be telling the truth, but I say grain of salt. Now, when I'm private with a woman, and she look at me, especially when she say, this ain't gonna be on one of your videos, is it? I'm like, no. And I actually haven't. There's a lot I don't share. everything I generally share is something that's general anyway, and that somebody will pick up on. But if they feel like, or that you ain't gonna say anything, or other guys that probably had this experience, especially some players, that women do one thing publicly, something else privately. And she's like cool with it because they know they got to keep a public image up, especially as they go up in social class. Like a lot of guys talk about those women for the streets. Those are usually like the lower classes. Let me shout out BGS Ibmore, Master Teacher BGS Ibmore, when he talked about the octane models. Now, when you get the lower octanes, like the ratchet class, the 85s, the working class, the 87s. I forgot what exactly the 89s are. Cousin T-Tars just talked to where they at, but then the 92s, those are professionals, and then the 100 octanes, those baller women. That's high up there. Baller, they either dealing with like, those athletes or those masters of the universe, guys making real money, or high-level drug dealers, all right? And even then, that's acculturated prostitution. And let me shout out real quick Alpha Male Strategies, because he shouted me out and brought up that term acculturated prostitution in a video he did recently. Shout out. That brother always had my support. Shout out to that brother. So, or he's always supported me. We cool with each other. Anyway, when you get them on the lower classes, yeah, they more for the streets and stuff. But as they go up in class, especially the 92s, the professionals, educated, they are very concerned about their public image. Oh, they the main ones be doing those sex parties too. They the main ones. Because their public image, they an executive, they a CEO, they a minister's wife, or they are in the church, they are ministers. They're doctors, attorneys, and everything. They're gonna say whatever's appropriate for their public position. And I just look at them, yeah. But then after that, when they're out of the spotlight and they realize you can stay quiet, oh, it's something totally different. Trust me. Anybody's dealt with some professionals know that. So you gotta just understand that, like, you see these videos and stuff, I don't care what your bias is. Even if I see a video, I'm gonna be real. Even if I see a video of women just praising bodies and everything, I still take it with a grain. I take it with a grain of salt. That's something that supports my position, but I take it with a grain of salt. I'm just like, okay. I don't take it seriously. And now when the camera's off and what these women really saying, then I'm like, okay, all right. And I'm serious. I don't care what it is. I don't care how much. You know what? It can support your position 100%. 100%. Or like another thing, because you get some people, they talk about some studies or something. I worked in market research. You got to take their bias. Sometimes they will purposely do or say whatever the researcher wants. And some people, and especially in research like that, especially if they're getting paid, lies are abounding. Now, I worked in market research briefly. I worked in a couple times in market research. And shoot, there were some times I did some of those surveys and I just needed a buck, but I just knew how to game the system. I don't mind saying that. So, look, take it with a grain of salt, all right? Take it with a grain of salt. The only way you really know where a woman's at is if you're alone with her or you in a place where it's mostly women and they comfortable with your presence. Oh, when you in that position, they kind of forget you there. Oh, shoot, the shit you'll hear. The stuff you'll hear. You be like, what? And you be surprised who you hear it from. That little innocent little woman who's saying like, oh, she's all pious and quiet. You might happen to go to her house, or that whip she used in BDMSM might just be out, she forgot to put it away. That's how deep it is. All right, so anyway, that's all I got for now, y'all. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.